Democratically led states suing over President Trump's move to end birthright citizenship say the issue is settled law, and Mexico has launched a new app for Mexican nationals facing detention or deportation in the U.S. Good afternoon. I'm Corva Coleman from NPR News, and here are today's top stories. The Trump administration says federal agents can now go into places previously off limits to remove migrants. That includes children's schools, hospitals, and churches. It's part of Trump's executive actions on immigration. That includes his move to end birthright citizenship, a right protected by the U.S. Constitution. New Jersey and several democratically led states are suing over the issue. New Jersey's State Attorney General Matthew Platkin says birthright citizenship is settled law.
It's been upheld by the Supreme Court multiple times. This is, until Monday night, not something that was ever contested by a president who signed an order that was extraordinary, unprecedented, and upended the rule of law.
He spoke to NPR's Morning Edition. There's no word yet of any major immigration raids that are expected to target sanctuary jurisdictions. Trump administration officials have said that Chicago could be one of the cities targeted. From member station WBEZ, Mawa Iqbal reports Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker is vowing to protect state residents who are in the U.S. illegally.
Pritzker says he still has not heard any concrete plans from President Trump. He reiterated at a press conference that people with criminal convictions who don't have legal status should be deported. However, he says the threat of deportation is looming over Chicago's immigrant neighborhoods, some of which he visited Monday.
I was in businesses yesterday that were relatively empty because people are afraid to show up. Because even documented immigrants, even citizens who are from another country but now are citizens of the United States, have relatives who are undocumented, they're afraid.
The Chicago City Council last week blocked an ordinance that would allow Chicago police to work with federal immigration authorities. For NPR News, I'm Mawa Iqbal in Springfield, Illinois.
Mexico has launched a new app for Mexican nationals who are facing deportation or detention in the U.S. Arizona Public Media's Paola Rodriguez reports it explains their legal rights and steps to take in emergencies.
The Consul app also contains a button for users to alert their emergency contacts and officials at the nearest consulate if they're facing detention. Rafael Barcelo Durazo heads the Mexican consulate in Tucson, Arizona, and says the app comes at a time when calls from Mexican nationals are flooding their call center.
The app is making easier the access to communicate with the consulates anytime, but particularly now that so many people are concerned about what is going to mean all the migratory changes that the new administration has announced.
On Monday alone, the consulate received over 1,500 calls about what to do amid mass deportation concerns. For NPR News, I'm Paola Rodriguez in Tucson.
President Trump's nominee for Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth, is facing new misconduct accusations. His former sister-in-law, Danielle Hegseth, has signed an affidavit alleging he drank heavily and abused his former wife, Samantha. At his confirmation hearing, Hegseth rejected similar misconduct and sexual assault accusations. NPR's Deirdre Walsh says Hegseth's lawyer is contradicting the new allegations.
NPR reached out to his attorney, Tim Parlatore. He has not responded. But Parlatore told NBC, which first reported on this affidavit, that Samantha Hegseth, this ex-wife, never alleged any of abuse and actually signed court documents acknowledging there was no abuse. And she affirmed that as part of Hegseth's background check.
NPR's Deirdre Walsh reporting. President Trump's executive actions on energy also call for boosting resource development in Alaska. Republican leaders in Alaska are praising these, but Alaska Public Media's Liz Ruskin reports environmental groups are pledging to fight the president's actions.
The order covers nearly every Alaska land use controversy this century. It calls for new oil leases in the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge and roads across protected federal land to help logging and mining. It's exactly what Alaska's all-Republican congressional delegation wanted. But Alaskans who advocated for these protections are seeing years of work erased. Conservation advocates are ramping up for lawsuits. As for Trump's order to restore the name Mount McKinley, a new poll by Alaska Survey Research found Alaskans by a wide margin favor the mountain's current name, Denali. For NPR News, I'm Liz Ruskin.
President Trump invited 3 executives to the White House yesterday to announce a new venture known as Stargate. NPR's Tamara Keith reports it's a large investment in artificial intelligence infrastructure.
The CEOs of SoftBank, OpenAI, and Oracle said 10 massive data centers that will be used to run AI technology are already under construction in Texas, and more could be possible. They praised Trump, and he in turn praised the multi-billion-dollar investment.
This monumental undertaking is a resounding declaration of confidence in America's potential under a new president. Let me be a new president. I didn't say it, they did.
Trump has a history of inviting executives to make splashy announcements like this one at the White House, though they haven't always lived up to the hype. Tamara Keith, NPR News, the White House.
Britain's Prince Harry and a senior British lawmaker have reached a settlement against tabloid newspapers owned by billionaire Rupert Murdoch. They had accused the papers of hacking their phones and invading their privacy. The settlement of the lawsuit ends the chance of a trial in London. That was expected to reveal evidence that might have been damaging to Murdoch and some of the tabloid executives. Israel has launched a new operation in the occupied West Bank, with arrests and deaths reported among Palestinians there. But about 50 miles away in the Palestinian Gaza Strip, a ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas is holding for the 4th day. NPR's Aya Batrawi reports.
From the southern city of Rafah to the edges of northern Jabalia, the Gaza Strip lies in ruins, the result of more than a year of war and sustained Israeli airstrikes. Palestinians are able to see now what's left of their homes in areas Israeli forces have withdrawn from. But there's little reprieve here. Entire neighborhoods have been leveled, turning cities into gray mounds of rubble as far as the eye can see. Gaza's health ministry says more than 47,000 people were killed by Israeli fire in the war. Local health officials say they've recovered around 150 bodies from the rubble and decay of different parts of Gaza since the ceasefire began Sunday, and they estimate more than 10,000 bodies remain missing under the rubble. Aya Batrawi, NPR News.
I'm Corva Coleman, NPR News.